So today we're going to talk about the newly leaked image that is apparently a Bambu Lab printer that is coming out in the next few months or maybe next few years. We don't really know. But the image has some very interesting tidbits and we're going to go over it. And the image came from a WeChat or some other type of online chat service, whatever. Where the image came from is not necessarily important. What is important is that it does look like a legit image and it does follow the Bambu Lab playbook almost to a T. So I am not surprised by this at all. I expect this is the next step in Bambu Lab's typical playbook of what to do next after they release a flagship printer. We saw it with the X1 Carbon. X1 Carbon comes out, fantastic printer, tons of fanfare, people seem to love it, and then a few months later they come out with the P series, which was a pared down version of the X1 Carbon. Worse screen, none of the spaghetti detection camera features, but print quality almost exactly the same. So I don't necessarily find this to be surprising. Bambu Lab has done this before. This is the H2D's evolutionary step. It is becoming the pared down version of whatever the H2D is. And based on the image we're putting on the screen now, I really think what we're getting is what we kind of wanted from the beginning. Like, go back, like you just rewind back maybe 5 months, and all the chatter, all the discussion about Bambu Lab and their next printer and what they want and what we need, it was really around this, just give me an X1 Carbon, but make it bigger. Just make it bigger. Just that's all I want. X1 Carbon with a larger bed. That is it. That's all we want. This seems to be that, if that makes sense. Now, we had to wait for the H2D to come out, and that has to be the flagship. I understand all that. But this really seems to be that step that we were waiting for back then when we were getting the dual nozzle system, which wasn't what we were expecting or necessarily what we wanted. Now that it's here, don't get me wrong, the H2D system with that dual nozzle extrusion is fantastic. It prints great. I've had no issues with it, but it's not what I think the market was really looking for and hoping for. This seems like it might be. What we got from the image is very limited. It's only one image, but we can see that it no longer has a dual nozzle system, right? It's a single nozzle system. I assume this will mean that you can reach every part of the bed with that nozzle because you don't have that larger, chunkier dual nozzle extruding hot end, which means you can reach everything on the bed easier. So that 350 by 320 space that we have on the H2D may be fully accessible now, versus before it was really never 350. That's what the marketing said, but in reality, we knew better. That is not what you were getting. This really, I think, will cover the whole bed. Now, I don't think they're going to retool the enclosure. Once they put all the R&D money into creating an enclosure and all the parts that go into building that, I don't anticipate them changing it. So this is probably going to stay as a 350 by 320 X and Y sized printer. Where I think we're going to see some benefits is that you don't need the fireproofing. The H2D had a substantial amount of fireproofing, to be honest, because it was also going to double as the laser enclosure. Because of that, I think we may see some savings there, not only in weight, but also in perhaps size, because some of those panels that had to be insulated in a certain way for fireproofing may not require that anymore because there's no laser module that's going to be attached. You can see in the image that front nozzle system doesn't seem to have any way to attach that laser attachment. So I don't foresee that being possible. This strictly seems like a single nozzle 3D printer with nothing else. Because of that, I do expect to see maybe a slimmer profile to some of the walls and maybe some weight reduction in comparison. Weight reduction in comparison to the H2D that's on the market now. Another indicator that the laser module will not be seen here is that the panels are not green. Now granted, they could have a non-laser and a laser version, but I don't foresee that being the case. Now this image does not show us the X and Y space, but it does show us the Z or Z offset. So we know at least in that regard, there is a gain of 10 to 15 millimeters, I believe it's 15, compared to the current H2D, which I think tops out at 325. So this seems to be slightly larger. You're going to be able to print taller items in comparison. It does look like the nozzles are your standard A-type nozzles, which is the same that H2D uses. So no surprise there. Why reinvent the wheel? Those nozzles are working great. I expect this to be basically what people wanted. A larger printer with all the bells and whistles that just is a single type of nozzle extruder with nothing else that's fancy about it. This seems like it. So if you're on the fence, if you're thinking about buying, you're like, that's too much. The H2D is more than I need. I don't need a dual nozzle system. This could be the one you were waiting for. We're gonna have to wait and see what pricing comes out at. We're gonna have to wait and see on lead times and deliveries and all of that. But if you're on the fence, this may be a moment to kind of talk yourself off that cliff and wait and see what gets released in the next couple of months, because I anticipate this is probably 5 months to 6 months away. I would anticipate they do not want to miss the holiday season. So I would think somewhere between October and November at the latest, we're gonna get an update on what this thing is and how much it costs. Another reason you may want to hold off on any purchases, aside from waiting for this printer, is that on June 24th, Bambu Lab is having a sale on their website. We don't know exactly what they're gonna be promoting. We have heard some rumblings about printers being a little bit less expensive, $50 to $100 less, depending on the printer. So if you're on the fence, you're waiting, maybe you've decided you don't want a larger printer, but you do want a Bambu Lab printer, that might be the moment. So check it out, June 24th. Again, this is not a sponsored video. I don't have sponsorship on this channel. It is too small of a channel to get sponsorship. So all of this is information just for you to make an informed decision. No skin off my back, no benefit to me, no money in my pocket. It is just, if you were thinking of Bambu Lab printers, this might be a good moment. June 24th, they are going to start a sale, and that might be a good opportunity to jump in and buy one if you were interested. Their filaments will also be on sale, and so will their accessories. So if you are already in the Bambu Lab ecosystem, this may still be a really good opportunity for you. With that said, I hope you're enjoying the content. I hope this was useful. And please drop a like and subscribe below if possible. That really helps out the channel. That is the currency of YouTube, and those little shillings you drop my way really mean a lot, because it helps immensely keeping the viewership going, keeping the channel momentum going, and keeping videos coming out for you to watch. Thank you so much for watching. Keep on printing, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Take care.